Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Two Guys, One Mic. I'm your host, James.
And I'm Matt.
And today we'll be talking about the 5 hits and misses of this year's 2017 E3.
Number one.
I feel like Nintendo revealed Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon far too early. They only had a logo and then literally nothing.
Totally. Man, I personally...
we both love Metroid Prime. And it's just like, after all these years, all you have to show for it is a logo is just sad.
And I have some suspicions into why they're doing a 4 and not just like a whole reboot of or a whole new Metroid Prime FPS game. A lot of young people have not played Metroid Prime. That game came out, let's see, I'm 27. That game came out when I was in grade 8. You know what I mean? Like
13, 12, 13.
Do you know what I mean? I barely remember playing Metroid Prime, and I'm a grown-ass man. And there are a ton of kids who have never experienced it, haven't even experienced like Samus and the whole Metroid series.
Yeah, because that's an old franchise.
If you think about it, it's
gone for years.
People are playing these characters in Smash Brothers, and they're like, "Who the hell even is this?" Do you know what I mean? And for Nintendo to show off just the logo, to me, is very un-Nintendo. These guys do not like showing off things until...
I would argue against that. I mean, Nintendo does love with Zelda. They always show a concept image. And that's all you're gonna get.
Maybe, but they still even. I remember when they first teased Breath of the Wild, and the first reveal of the game. They didn't even have a title. They revealed the actual title of the game and some initial game footage of Link and what we thought was Epona running through the forest, which was cool.
Chased by the tentacle thing.
Yeah, and Metroid Prime 4. Why would you even show that? And then the Pokemon, the whole Pokemon.
It's like a name drop, wasn't it?
Yeah, Nintendo is... Oh my god, this is driving me nuts. So Nintendo had a Pokemon conference a couple weeks ago where they announced, to everyone's disappointment, not Pokemon Stars, but it was Pokemon... Pokken Tournament. Yeah. And then a re-release of Sun and Moon. No thank you. Everyone was complaining. Twitter was lit up with where's Stars, I think this is Nintendo trying to backtrack and be like, oh, but we still got an RPG coming out, please.
Coming out in 5 years.
Yeah, well, you'll see it someday. But don't even announce it. Don't get the fanboys riled up. Just keep it to yourself. And when you're ready to show something, show something. Okay. Be like Nintendo. Do what you are. The guys who are the kings of not showing too much before it's sort of coming out.
Until they delay it. But
delays.
They usually have at least, a release date when they show it.
The rest of the conference, some of the games aren't for everyone, but it's you saw that new Kirby game, the new Yoshi game, those are great, awesome, great to see that. Okay, so moving on, let's move on to number 2.
Okay, so for my number 2 is, I think Microsoft forgot going into this conference they need to sell a new console this year, because they did not in any way show why I should buy a Xbox One X.
Codename Scorpio. Yeah,
they really didn't show any reason.
They're blah blah teraflops and this and that. That jargon means absolutely nothing to the average consumer. I know this is sort of geared towards people who are above above average, who are really hardcore gamers. But as someone who's as you and I are both really heavily involved in gaming and game culture, and I cannot distinguish the real difference between this console and the Xbox One S.
Yeah,
both have 4K players, and on top of that, I don't have a 4K TV. Most content isn't outputting in that quality.
I think it's just future proofing it, but I disagree. I agree that there's nothing to differentiate this from the Slim.
And with no Pro controller or any of that, it's I get it.
Where's your Halo?
There was and even the games that they showed, it's the games look great. You know what I mean?
We'll get into that on my next point.
Yeah, some of the games that looked amazing on it, but it's was it that amazing? Was it better than anything I saw at the Sony conference? No. If you're gonna boast about the power and the graphics and this and that. Show me something that I've never seen before. I remember when Xbox 360 originally was announced, and they had that Gears of War trailer come out, and you see the what's his name?
Berserker?
The Berserker charging through the train. The game never ended up looking that good. It just you got the excitement, and like there was nothing of that. I didn't get anything like that, and it really upset me.
I mean, I wouldn't say they have to show something new, but like show me like Halo 5 like playing on an Xbox One, and then cut to like, all right, now this is it on the X Scorpio, and it just looks completely.
Yeah, I would love this. Show me. To your point.
Yeah,
show me the upgrade. Show me the value that I get from this.
Yeah.
Don't just like come out with this like 1.5 minute hype trailer that's like beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but
It's like, it all looks like
not
what we expect.
yeah.
Continue this Microsoft hate train.
So moving on to number 3, as you guys can tell, James was pretty disappointed. I think this is coming from a really like honest place because him and I are both huge Xbox fans. We've been playing Xbox since the OG Xbox, Halo, Splinter Cell. Anyway, so moving on to number 3.
So this is more specific to one game, but Crackdown 3 looks like the biggest disappointment.
Crackdown 3. Crackdown 1.
You have to like embrace yourself for when you're about to talk.
I'm like, oh my god, please. So Crackdown 1 was one of the first games I
Or we got to play, yeah.
on like Xbox Live. This is the first time like I was paying for my own Xbox Live. It was the first game I played on Live. I really felt like the 360 was mine. Yeah, I didn't really embrace Live until Crackdown 1 came out. A decade later, the game looks the exact same. Like I don't know what is so hype, but there's zero hype to this game. And like I'm gonna reference like a previous conference that happened. Don't quote me on this. About 2-3 years ago,
The Crackdown tech demo.
exactly when Microsoft was sort of hyping up their Xbox Live infrastructure and how like cloud-based this and throwing tech terms and wowing all the fanboys, and then they come out at the Gates 2017 conference saying that we're not going to have destructible environments because they're good cops. It's like
That's a
okay,
like a huge feature that like I would have loved. Like, even if the game looked worse for it, like I'm fine with, but
it's like it's not even a style that I thought was like. I don't need every game to look like Anthem. I don't need every game to look like God of War.
no, but even this, like, it just does not look like a good.
Cloud Crackdown clearly has its style, but it doesn't even do that style well. Borderlands 2, one of my favorite games of last generation, had a style that was like and it was so great. It wasn't trying to be Call of Duty. It was Borderlands, and it felt great. Crackdown just looks like a washed out
last
gen game that they're trying to bring back into
just sell it. Just like they don't even.
So number 4.
I went into this E3 thinking that Nintendo had this idea of bringing over Wii U games to the Switch, since obviously no one bought the Wii U. And apparently they decided Smash Brothers did not deserve that cut.
Nintendo clearly has a naming convention that they're trying to do with these like deluxe titles, Pokemon Tournament Deluxe, Mario Kart Deluxe. It's like
I'm fine with.
Yeah, it's like Nintendo. You're clearly trying to do a thing with like your deluxe games, and like I know, Arms just came out. I get it. Why would you release a fighting game, and then at E3 tease people that like announce a Smash Brothers? I get it, but at the same time, it's like you could have just done like a splash page, not even showing footage. If you're gonna show a logo for any game, Smash Brothers 4, have just like a logo of games that you want to port from like the Wii U to the Switch, because a lot of people are buying the Switch. It's a hot console right now. A lot of people who are buying the Switch never bought the Wii U. Myself including.
Both of us.
Yeah, both of us. Speaking of both of us. And there are a lot of games that I wanted to play. I bought Mario Kart, Breath of the Wild, and like I want to get a chance to play the Pikmin and like the Smash Brothers 4. I love Smash Brothers. We bought it for the 3DS. We played the shit out of that game, but we never got it. I wanted to play on the Wii U.
I also love Pikmin, and I also didn't get that either.
Yeah, so just let people know that you're doing this sort of deluxe. This ongoing system. You guys can release it in 2018. That does not matter. But the fact that there was like no mention of that, to me, that was like a huge miss. Finally, number 5.
This is 2 points, kind of. it's both about Bethesda. They are focusing way too much on VR, and you need to realize Skyrim is like a 6-year-old game, and they need to stop talking about it at E3.
Agreed.
Yeah, like this is not a game that should be at E3. Like, just do your own announcement on your own time. Don't bring this like 5-6-year-old game to the biggest convention of the year.
Yeah, like Bethesda, people, like, you guys are one of my favorite developers.
Yeah, like just milking this one game.
Yeah.
Even Fallout's now suffering that too now.
It's
Fallout
like
4 is coming at every E3.
I don't know how many more times you guys can do an Elder Scrolls or do a Fallout before people are kind of fatigued by that. Like, show me a new IP.
I don't even know. Like, I'm fine with an Elder Scrolls. Just don't stop doing Skyrim. Like, get it.
True that. Fair enough. Cool, guys. I know it's kind of coming from a dark place, but it's coming from the right place. Like, we really love gaming. We really love E3. The dream of ours is to kind of go down and actually attend the conference.
Next year, yeah.
But after hearing about those lines of, like, 5-hour waits, maybe not. But anyway, let's move on to...
our likes.
The likes. The things that we actually loved about
E3.
2017. Number 1.
All right, so this is going to be... Never in my life did I think I would say this. But goddamn, does Dragon Ball Z look good?
Oh my! There is a game, at least one game every E3 that just like just what the, like, just completely unexpected, and Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Dragon Ball Z Fighters, I think. Yeah,
no, I think it's Fighter Z.
It's really bad when we don't know and we love it so much.
Yeah, we all know the game we're talking about. That game looked incredible. Like, they're not trying to be Injustice. They're not. They want to be.
Well, they're kind of trying to be Marvel vs. Capcom, but
Dragon Ball Z, this game looks
and feels like what I've always wanted.
As a young man, this is what I wanted my Dragon Ball games to look and feel like. You know, Budokai was just trying to be like clunky 3D characters, but this just looks so good. And the best part was like how they handle even like cut scenes through combat.
Within the...
Yeah, it's like not disruptive. It's...
Yeah, it flows, it's fluid.
Yeah, so like you'll see like Goku, or I saw like Gohan do his Kamehameha, and like, you know, there's an animation with Goku sort of behind him, and then as the beam is going, and then cuts back to them, screaming again before the move actually finishes. Like, it's all part of the same combo, and I was like, that is so well done.
Yeah.
Bandai Namco, you guys just killed it with that.
Yeah, biggest surprise. Haven't been this excited for Dragon Ball Z since...
ever.
Yeah, I've literally never been.
Okay, let's move on to number 2.
Alright, so this is... The reason I chose this is because it's probably my favorite new IP that I've seen, and especially in a time with like remakes and sequels and VR.
Yeah, this is a really good E3 to show off this game because there was a lot of just the same game over and over again. Sequel, prequel, remake, re-release. So yes, the game we're talking about, BioWare's newest IP from EA, Anthem.
Yeah.
This game looked incredible. One thing I wanted to say before James sort of takes it away, I hope the shortcomings of Mass Effect Andromeda was worth it to make this game great.
I hope sacrificing that franchise to create this one.
And for those who know who...
I don't know if it's worth it, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, for those who don't know what we're talking about, Kotaku recently released like an article. I'll link it in the show notes down below, regarding like sort of what happened to
like the
Mass
behind
Effect. Behind the scenes of Mass Effect. They interviewed a lot of people who were like sort of off the record. A really long read, really good read. Definitely recommend it. They talked about how a lot of their animators and stuff like that, and like
their core
teams left to go work on their new IP. But yeah, Anthem to me looks like what. Fingers crossed. It's like, to me, it looks like EA's answer to Destiny, but done on like a level that is like with the polish that I hope will come from a BioWare, EA.
The story, characters, and everything.
But yeah, that demo looked great. And you know what? BioWare has never been a company to show off a game that when it comes and ships does not look like that.
Yeah, they never like done the. They never were big on the downgrades or any,
Yeah,
like, that kind of
they
stuff.
really know how to make, and Frostbite, like anything that game touches looks
That
incredible.
engine touches, yeah.
Yeah, Battlefront 2 looks like incredible. This game looks nuts. I love the setting. It's sort of like war torn, but also sort of futuristic. It's got that sort of Horizon Zero Dawn style to
like
it.
apocalyptic kind of look.
Yeah, post-apocalyptic, but like still run by like sort of giant mech dinosaurs, but also like organic life. These like exosuits, it looks great. My only issue with just that video that they showed was I didn't know. When there was other people were sort of dropping in and out of the game, it looked cool. I was like, oh, that's sweet. The guy's level 35 or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't know if the people talking supposed to be other players or if it's like.
I think it's like, I don't know if you ever remember the Division, but it's like every E3 does this and I hate it, where it's like these demos that involve co-op, like the people playing the game act like they're actually in the world.
Yeah, it's like too weird. It's like, dude, no one talks like that.
But that's
Yo,
not
what's up, guys? I'm here, man.
Whoa, did you see that? Let's go check that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go check that out. No one talks like that. Like,
But that's not a problem with the game. That's just the way the presentation of it.
It was just confusing. I was like, wait, is that like a level 35 like other character in like
in
like
the game,
or is that someone who just like
talking like that?
Yeah, talking like that, but is like controlled by a real person. I don't, it was confusing, but overall, Anthem incredible.
It looked incredible. Yeah,
that's excited for that one. Moving on, number 3.
Sony actually had a good conference and showed off.
Sony has
a lot of stuff.
Sony has had back-to-back
great E3s.
Ever since the PS4 was announced, they just killed it. These guys have very polished E3s. The games that they show are beautiful. They're reinventing their franchises in a way that I didn't think was.
Yeah, like even though like, sorry to cut you off, but for like God of War, even though yes, it is another God of War, it's such a drastic change.
Oh, it's like reinvented. You're playing with like this little boy now, like your son, or quote. They say he's your son, but
yeah, whatever. We'll see what happens.
We'll see how that sort of story pans out. But the game just feels like God of War, but also very different. And you compare that to like a Gears of War 4, which just felt like another Gears of War game. Top of that, Shadow of the Colossus.
I mean, I personally love Shadow of the Colossus on the PS2. So
yeah,
to see that game,
a lot of people. That game was beautiful, and
so the reason I would say I love that it's getting a remake is because it has me hoping that they're gonna kind of. I know they did with The Last Guardian, but explore more of that world specifically, and like those like taking on larger than life monsters, and more of like that kind of gameplay mechanics.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying so like a Shadow Colossus 2?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like they're trying to build like hype for like maybe that in the future. Yeah. Even if they don't, I would still love to experience that game once again. Like again, doesn't even matter.
Spider-Man, I was like, Spider-Man game. There's the best Spider-Man game that I've ever played was Spider-Man the movie 2, the second one, not the first one. This is the first time they ever made like an open world Spider-Man. I was like, this is amazing. the best movie game tie-in ever. But I think it looks great. It looks like a fun game.
It's done by it's mostly the developer.
Insomniac. Like those guys are solid. There was some awkward animation. Like I thought him sort of jumping. But hopefully they sort of going from like horizontal swinging from like pole to pole. I hope they sort of fix that. Insomniac is really good at sort of having those in-game moments where like you have to quickly press X or like triangle or this.
Quick time events, but it's more like subtle or just
they do a really good job at making the whole thing seem very Hollywood. I know there's people are asking about like new costumes and skins and stuff. Of course, that stuff's gonna be there. It would not be a Spider-Man game without having 1,000 different costumes to choose from. I'm really excited for that one. These guys are killing it. They're like pumping out original IPs. They're remaking really great games, and they're reinventing franchises that have been out
for a long period of time.
Exactly. You couldn't ask for anything more.
And they did all that without Naughty Dog, which is like, can't wait to see what they're doing.
Yeah, again, they didn't even show Last of Us 2, like nothing, which is great. Like
that's gonna be next year's E3. That's gonna like blow everyone away.
These guys have like a sort of rhythm going that they're on a roll, and kudos to Sony, honestly. Yeah. Number 4. Okay, guys, so I know we've been sort of bash talking Microsoft a lot.
Or every company except for Sony.
We're going to Microsoft, although like I was not a big fan of the conference overall, they still had some really cool things that I'm really excited about. Their indie reel was incredible. And like, I love those big AAA games. Microsoft's commitment to the indie games and stuff is great. They're giving the developers the amount of time they need to get these games out. Cuphead is a game that I've been waiting for like 3 years. It's finally coming in September. I'm really excited to see that. There was the Last Night. I thought the Last Night was one of the best games they showed at that conference period. And pending Anthem, of course. But the Last Night, that indie game just had such style. I thought it was incredible. It had this sort of Blade Runner style feel to it that I really excited to try that game out. The Artful Escape. Again, Cuphead, as we mentioned that. A ton of really great indie games. Number 5. There were 2 games specifically that I was really excited that were coming out. One is Rocket League coming for the Switch. The Switch is a console that is like great for competitive like multiplayer. I'm not talking esport. I'm not talking any of that stuff.
Just like local,
Just like even local. Like they already announced like split screen support. Each Joy-Con can work independently. That is incredible. Mario hat and whatever. I don't give a shit about the skins and whatnot for that stuff.
That's just whatever.
But Rocket League is a game that I've been dying to play. I sort of missed that sort of hype train when it was coming out for like PS4 and Xbox and stuff like that. But on the Switch, we'll definitely be picking that up. I think it's a game that's so good for that console. Good on Nintendo for making that, like establishing that relationship with those developers and making that game come out. I think seeing that game come to the Switch, you're going to see a lot more developers sort of start porting some of their games onto the Switch. I think that was a great move for Nintendo. The second game we want to talk about, PlayerUnknown's Battleground.
Yeah, a really popular PC game coming to Xbox.
Yeah, and if it's gonna come anywhere, I think Xbox has like the online, the communities,
social built
everything it needs built in to really do that game justice on the Xbox. I'm a big fan of controllers over keyboard and mouse. I'm really excited to play that game. I've never got to play these types of games. I've been following them since they first sort of came out, like with DayZ and all that stuff, and like the Armada 2, I think it was
the Arma 2 mod.
It was the Armada 2 mod, that sort of started off this like arena-style game, which is incredible. And what PlayerUnknown Battleground has done, the community it has is great. Really excited to see this come to the Xbox. Good on Microsoft. Good for them. They need games like this because clearly they don't understand the idea of original IPs.
Or AAA IPs, for that sake.
Yeah, so they definitely needed a big sort of indie IP, one that has a huge following to come to them, and they definitely knocked that one out of the park.
And one that seems to be growing with their like zombie DLC and all that stuff.
Cool. So that's it, guys. Those are our 5 sort of hits and misses of 2017 E3. We know we're a little hard on the game developers, the game companies. We love gaming.
Very passionate about it. So
we're very passionate about it. But what did you guys think of E3 2017? Were you guys sort of as disappointed as us, or did you think it was better and we're just a little bitter?
A little butthurt about it.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments below.